Hello, I'm Ariel from Revival Acres Homeschool, where we're growing a digital feast to revive homes, hearts, and your family's health. Today, I'm going to talk about preschool, or ages 3 to 5 or anywhere there in between. Because I use the Charlotte Mason method, I really don't believe in rigorous preschool, got to get those letters, numbers, and school time. That's not what Charlotte Mason would have wanted, and that's not what she encouraged parents to do. The most important thing that we can do for our students and for our children before age 6 is get them outside. Get them outside, enjoying creation, enjoying the natural world. They will learn so many wonderful things from being outside, climbing trees, knowing how high I can climb before I fall to injury. You see a child, they just stop and they just stare, and you're always like rushing them. Come on, let's go, let's go. But you don't know that they're staring at this little ant family or this line of ants that are walking across the sidewalk, and they're observing and taking in life. But often at least for me, I rush them out of this, and we need to give them hours outside observing. They will learn so much. It's so good for them. And we want them to be attentive when they turn 6 and can sit down and, do a lesson with us. Yet we're always rushing them when they're being naturally attentive outside. So let's just not rush them. Let's give them adequate time outdoors, not hovering, give them some space. It's okay if they scrape their knee every now and then and run to mom, and you can help them and make them feel better. But they need to learn boundaries. In the summer of 1893, there was a parent review article from Charlotte Mason Schools. There was an article that was published that listed all of the attainments that Charlotte Mason wished for her students to accomplish by the age of 6. It is not what you would think would be on an attainment list, or at least a modern day attainment list, to enter first grade or kindergarten. I think it's a wonderful list that is neglected, and I would love more families, and my family included, to come back and focus on these things. For me personally, having an hour, 30 minutes sometimes, it depends on the day, with my younger students is really important, because it allows them to have that mama time. Because later on, I focus pretty hard on my older students and their education, because we work hard for those 2.5 hour spans, like I talked about in my Form 1 schedule video. And I need to be able to focus. Now, my younger students can come up alongside, they can join in whenever they want, but I do let them go. I do understand that they need some time with me, or else they feel like they're left out, or they just want their love tank filled, right? They just want to snuggle. They want to know that I pay attention to them too, and I care about them. So one of my favorite resources that I'm using this year to help me mainly in teaching the foundational concepts of math that I often forget or neglect to teach, and then when it's time for my students to really, at 6 years old, sit down and do some math, I forgot to do these play-based concepts with them, and I can definitely tell when I don't do them and when I do. So this book by Kate Snow, Preschool Math at Home, is a wonderful resource for parents to use to help their student learn math concepts in a very, very gentle way. It's all play-based, using toys and things that you have at home or can easily make at home. And we have been really enjoying it. My son will ask to do math because he thinks it's so special that he has his own math book. But really, it's using your fingers. It's using toys. Right here is a picture of cars lined up in different ways to teach about how even when you move items around, there's still going to be 5, even though 5 can look different. And it's just teaching these different arrangements of numbers. You also have like a tea party and set a table and talk about there's 5 bears at the table, so you're going to need how many teacups? And it's just working through these math concepts in a very play-based way. It's perfect for the preschooler at home. Highly recommended having this resource. It is not consumable, so once you buy it one time, you're set for all your kiddos. So I recommend buying this. I'll make sure to link it in the blog post. And I just keep this in my basket. My preschool student has a basket and knows it's his basket where I keep all his special things, his school things. And I keep this in his basket, and every day I just go to my sticky note and we see where we're at, and we just work through a very simple 5-minute lesson, maybe. And it just makes us both feel like we're accomplishing something for that day and giving us some special time. So usually we begin with math. Then what I do each week is I slip in 5 different books into his basket. Each book kind of fulfilling something that I want to accomplish with him, just to make sure that we're just slowly progressing right into this realm of someday doing school. So what I do is I put in different things. So I always include a poem book. Now there's the virtue books that everyone loves. This one is Sing a Song of Popcorn, and it is just a bunch of poems by various different people, and they're silly and fun and really meaningful too. So on the day he picks this one, I have him just pick a poem that he wants to read, and we just read it together. And that's what I do. So like I said, I slip like 4 or 5 different books in here, and then I let him pick which book we're going to read that day. And then after we've read a book, I take it and I put it in my office or on my desk and for the week, so that I can naturally loop through these books without getting stuck on one. Because sometimes he'll just want to read one book over and over, which is not a bad thing. I highly recommend keep reading those books to your students. But I also want to work through some other books. So by removing it from his basket, I'll remember we've already read that book. Let's try to work through some other books. And he knows it's not really an option until next week. And I'll add it back in. I'll also include an ABC book or a Bible-like book. This is my favorite ABC book as far as Christian values, by Susan Hunt. My ABC Bible verses, hiding God's word in little hearts. Fantastic. It's story-based. And we actually started at Z because we thought it'd be fun just to start backwards. So that's an option for him. I also like to throw in another ABC book. He's super into construction vehicles, so I have a bunch of different ones like that. So this is the construction alphabet book. So I'll try to throw in a fun one that's not twaddle, that he can learn but also be connected to the ABCs. And we read through this one quite a bit. He loves that one. But I have a bunch of different ABC books. I also try to include a number book. And I have different number books here that I like, that we'll kind of rotate through. And I found this one on a whim, and I really love it. It's the Beatrix Potter Peter Rabbit's 1, 2, 3 book, I guess. I don't know. I bought it at a library sale, and I love it. So it uses her original drawings, and it just takes those drawings and makes them into number pages. And they're so sweet. So I will try to find and link this for you, but this is a really great book. And we're only working to 1 through 5 right now, so we'll just read to pages numbers 1 through 5. This is an Usborne book, Count to 100, and all it is pictures of lots of things, and they're all themed. And so I'll ask him like different questions, like how many peppers do you see, or how many, let's see, polka dot balloons or whatever. And we just work through this. He'll pick a page and we'll work through that. So that's an option as well. And I also love to include a science book. Oh, here's my favorite series, Christian Liberty Nature Readers. I have all 5 of them. I highly recommend them for all your students throughout the 8 grades through middle school. But this is the kindergarten one, and so it's again letter, and it's an animal for every letter. It's not twaddle, it's nonfiction. And then at the back of each section, there are 3 very simple questions that you can ask them as they get older and closer to narration. Age 5, you can ask them these questions, gently leading them to that narration. All right, so those are some of my favorites. I also love Big Thoughts for Little Thinkers series. This is put out by Master Books. These are really great. I highly recommend that. In his basket, I'll also put in, sometimes we'll read through a couple stories in here. So different Bible Bibles. So this is the I Am Bible, 40 Reasons to Trust God. Sometimes I'll slip that in and let him pick a story. I also include just a little notebook in here. He's not writing. He's starting to like to draw, so I don't put any pressure on him, but I just keep it in there if he wants to practice writing when, you know, his older sisters are doing their school. I also really encourage you to get letters, wooden letters, that they can feel and work with. That was highly encouraged with Charlotte Mason. She would say, like, get those letters. They could even be magnet letters, and have your child play with them and touch them and visualize them. And then as they show interest, they say, what's this letter, Mama? You could say, ah. Work on the sounds even before the letters. Sometimes you just do it naturally. You're like, A. Really focus on the sounds first, and eventually they'll slowly build CVC words without you even trying. As long as they know the sounds of the letters, if they show interest, you go with that interest, but there's no pressure. And if they're done, they're done. I also encourage you to use a chalkboard before really ever doing writing. This is a big Charlotte Mason thing because chalk is thicker. It's less intimidating because you can erase it really quickly if you make a mistake. So this is a really nice slate chalkboard that I got. We also use these in when we do chalk drawing as well with my older students. And then I also include in the bucket that I do. So I do a basket, and I also put together a weekly bucket or bin for my child that I change out so that when I am doing school with my older students and he starts to get restless, I could say, go get your bucket, go see what's in your bucket. And there'll be activities that are new and exciting that he hasn't seen that week or within the last few weeks, and he can pull them out and use them. What I do is I have a bucket. This is the bucket that I have, but any bucket, bin, whatever you have is great. And I do keep a cap on it just so my youngest one doesn't get into it, although she's learned how to open it now. So anyways, what I'll do, so in here is Mr. Potato Head. He thinks Mr. Potato Head is hilarious. So sometimes I'll slip this in. I always try to slip in a puzzle. So this is like a tool puzzle. The pieces are at the bottom, but you can also slip in any type of flashcards that you have. There are so many wonderful Etsy resources that you can buy that are nature-based. So if you have those already, don't forget about them in your Google Drive like I have done in the past. Print them out, laminate them, or put them on cardstock, and then put them, I like to store them in these little plastic bins. And if you don't know what they look like in the container, I think they're meant to be like scrapbooking bins or for photos, but then you can store them all in here, and I label them right after I cut them and put them, or if I don't label them, it won't get done. And so I know, and so I will just literally pull out one of these are shark cards. So maybe I'll choose a book from the library that week for his basket about sharks, and then I'll pull out a shark note card set. And that is something I will put in here. And he just likes to look at them and play with them. You can also put in, of course, your ABC flashcards if you have those. And then I have a bag of these bean bags. There are a number of bean bags, and you can play so many fun number games with them. So they have the number and then the word on the back, and it goes up to 20, and I can link these. And you can play number games with them. They're really fun because there's like beads or something in them. You can say, as they progress through the math, you could say, can you find 3 cars, or put this on the floor and say, tell me what number that is, and have them put 3, blocks next to it. So there's just so many different things that you could put in this box. I recommend that you organize all your resources into one spot in your home so that you know what you have. I'm a visual person. I have to be able to see what I have or I forget about it. So I actually made an Excel spreadsheet trying to list everything I had. And it's not complete or anything, but it just helped me organize my thoughts to know I have these wonderful things I can pull from each week. I don't have to buy new things. Don't fall into that trap on Instagram. Use what you have already. Make a list if you need to. Tape it to your desk, tape it to your computer, whatever you need to do so that you use what you have. And make sure that you can access them super easily. To just throw some stuff in a bucket, it should take you 10 minutes on a Sunday night or whenever, very quickly. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if there's anything else that you'd like to see or resources or have any questions. And keep on the lookout for more videos. Thanks for being here.